Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I welcome you to yet another session of inspiring conversation from Iceland, from Winter Wonderland. I don't know if it's fine by you, but winter is coming because snow keeps pouring down here in my hometown. So but that is not why we are here, because we are here talking with and figuring out why we do this. I think I will start again. Inspiring conversation is all about creating conversations that really matter. We are diving into ways to connect deeply, break down barriers, and build moments that inspire trust and growth. Whether it's with your team, at work, or in your everyday chats, we will bring more positivity, realness, and impact into every conversation. And as I mentioned, I am in Iceland, and this is my part of my hometown. So beautiful sighting, and we this is just a summer picture, so I think that today it would be more white, but it's not, it's just temporary. But my guest today is a young woman who was fired to get inspired. She was fired, and then she turned that into something positive, and then she wrote a book which is called Fired to Inspired. A journey of career reinvention and unshakable drive. And I bid you welcome my guest today, Mary Korn. Yay! So, welcome.
Thank you.
So, how is life in the US?
It's going to be 80 degrees.
Well, okay, thank you for this conversation. That was not inspiring.
It was uninspired, fired to uninspired.
Well, we have, I think we have 1 degree Celsius. I think that is 37 Fahrenheit or something.
Yeah,
So thank you.
something
So
like
thank you very much. So that's why I was just like, oh, don't mention that.
I
so,
don't blame you.
so it is getting warmer in your neck of the woods.
Finally, it's been a frigidly cold winter, one of the hardest I've remembered in a long time.
But where are you? Where are you in the U.S.?
I'm in Columbus, Ohio. We're about a 12-hour drive from New York City.
Oh, it's so close.
Yeah.
It's a small country you live in. That's totally, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but welcome to this session of inspiring conversation. And like we spoke ages ago about you being a guest on the show, and I was inspired just by talking to you because your story is, well, unbelievable. But I want to start with the name game. So, Mary Korn,
Mhm.
why, like, is it your real name, or is it like, why? Tell me a little bit about Mary. Is that a real name in the US, or?
So you asked such an incredibly important question because so much is in a name.
Yeah.
I was born uh, in I was born not too soon after World War II, and I was born in Germany. And
Oh,
my mother, who is a Holocaust survivor, wanted to give me a name to protect me. And what could be a more non-Jewish name than Mary?
uh-huh.
So, but Mary is a non-Jewish spelling, and the way I spell it is like Merry Christmas, Merry. So it's so interesting. I'm trained as a therapist, and one of the things we're told in our training is to always find the origin of a person's name because it has so much to do with their destiny.
Yeah. Because I think I wrote you a message or something, and I spelled it wrong, and then I was just like, no, yeah. But when you told me, like, oh no, it's Mary, or try to have it correct in your
Yeah,
uh, topic and stuff, and I was just like, yeah, but it is like Mary. It like a lot of weight on your shoulders, isn't it? You have to be Mary.
not always, but sometimes.
Well, it's just like happiness. You can't be happy all the time, can you?
No, not authentically.
But how is it? Because I mentioned that you are a young lady, so because we are in the 29, we are only 29. So when
Yeah.
you mention, you don't look like you were born just after the Second World War. What's wrong with you? Are you sure? Did you take
Uh,
off a
I,
decade or?
no, no, no.
No, no, no. No.
No, I was born in the later 1950s.
Ah, okay, yeah, 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 yeah. But how was it? So you stayed in like your parents, they were in Germany and then immigrated to US because of like because Europe was just in shambles after the Second World War.
It was. My older sister told me she would remember walking home from school and there would be rubble. There were still buildings in rubble because I was born in Munich. And what
Uh-huh.
happened is after the war, in Germany, they had what's called Wiedergutmachen, which is
Yeah.
reparations for Holocaust survivors. So they had displaced persons camps where people were fed and housed until they exited. And that's where my parents met, in the displaced persons camp. After, I mean, both of them had been Holocaust survivors.
So that is just I'm in awe because the horrible things that were done in the Second World War and meeting or talking to people who have this story. So
Yeah.
you must be like, but how was it when they then went to US? Did they try to forget? Or like I know that they could not forget because they had the numbers tattooed on them. But for you, did you ask many questions? Because like the openness about it?
Well, the divorce when I was two, very common for Holocaust survivors, is both of their whole families were decimated. So people became uh, people got married who hardly knew each other because they were so desperate to move on with their lives. So they divorced when I was two. And am I pronouncing your name correctly? Hidin?
Hedin, yes, yes, yes,
Hidin
yes.
was never talked about. And it wasn't until I was sitting on the stair steps of my home that I heard my mother tell her whole story. And I'd never heard it. And she never knew I heard it. And she talked about being 13 years old, uh, escaping from a train that was meant for the death camps. She jumped off a train surrounded by SS soldiers. And again, she escaped the death march. And so this is a woman who was resilient and had an amazing courage to live.
Yeah, that is something like it's the resilience, or it's reading Frankel's his like the psychologist Viktor Frankl's book. It's just unbelievable, and how he explains that they will be coming, they are coming, and then they didn't come, and he just saw people die because they lost hope.
Yeah.
So it is just unbelievable. So I did not know that of like, oh, I love this podcast because all of a sudden there is some twist in your story, and I just, this is awesome. Well, yeah, not for your like, but it is. We need to keep the story going.
Well, I love that you mentioned Viktor Frankl because he had so much to do with my life, along with many authors that inspired me. But Viktor Frankl was most known for the comment that under any circumstance, you can choose how you're going to think and feel. You
Yeah,
always have that choice.
yeah. So what when you were growing up? uh, did you because back then it must have been around like ladies were not supposed to be doctor, like it was like the still the patriarchy that was deciding everything. So when you it came to you to decide if you were going to university and stuff, did your mother like say like you can be anything you want, or was it you, did you just get it, did she give you with a like when she was feeding you with breast milk that you could do anything, you could become anything, and like this toughness?
I grew up with toughness. I grew up with a woman who had, at best, a fifth grade education. She came to this country as a single mother with $120, with two children under the age of 8. And she taught me anything is possible, anything. And she showed it. I mean, here she came to this country as a single mother, and both my sister and I have master's degrees. So
Yay.
she built from nothing.
That is like, and surviving the Holocaust and surviving the war, like it's just, this is amazing. So
Yeah.
you are like, how is it when you, because now we are getting into the story about
Yeah.
you, like you having a master's, you are having you got your dream job, and then all of a sudden, what was it, in 2 months they fired you.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Like what, how, you know, because we go to universities and we want to do something good, like that is in our thoughts, and then you take the masters and then you get hired, and then you, like you mentioned in your about section on LinkedIn and everywhere, that you found your dream job.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, it was just like, okay, thank you very much. Sayonara, you're fired.
Yeah.
So how was it for you? Like, did you, because when you, I'm trying to get like, because your mother's story and you, like, it's just, because it is a blow, isn't it? It is just like you are full of guys, then you are going to do this, and then, okay, you're out. And then, like, how long did it take you to say, okay, I may be fired, but I'm inspired?
It didn't happen overnight. And I had struggled for most of my adult life with finding work that felt engaged and resonated. And I knew it would never happen working for someone else. I always felt this incredible yearning to own my own business. So getting
Uh-huh.
fired opened this whole portal of creating work that I knew I was destined to do. If for your listeners who've been fired or they're stuck in jobs that they're paralyzed by because they mean nothing, one of the greatest, and you're doing it with this podcast. You and I talked much earlier. When you're doing work that you absolutely love, there's no such thing as time because you're so immersed and so love every minute of what you're doing.
Yeah. I was just, because I am having trouble finding a job right now. But I was telling my wife that this is just a lifesaver to meet fabulous people, and it brings me such joy, and just the stories, like I'm in such an awe just to hear about your mother and father, like it brings some kind of hope that we are here because we are meant to do something.
Well, uh, you said something that I think could be the most meaningful part of our conversation. My book, Fire to Inspired, and not it's going through final edits now. There's three legs to it. One is overcoming fear
Oh
to
yes.
to move on with your life. The other one is discovering your life purpose. I, by the way, I think you love doing these podcasts so much, you could monetize it and create your own job. I'm just saying, this could be paid work.
Hmm.
And number three is the third leg is once you find out your life purpose, because that's half the battle, is how do you find a job if you're not really sure exactly what you want? But
Yeah,
once you know exactly what you want, that's the easy part. And then getting to do the work, whether it be to launch your own business, which I have a feeling could be what you may really want to do because you could monetize this show, is you start having conversations with people doing work you want to be doing, and you
yeah.
ask them how you translate your skills and your talents into the work they are doing.
And that is, I of course I would love to monetize this, but the
Good,
Icelandic rules, because
absolutely.
our valuta, our currency is krona, and
So
because Snipe or Skype or whatever it, all of the PayPal's and stuff, they don't, like, krona is just for 300,000 people, so I have to get a like account abroad, and it's
you
I'm working on it.
you can do that. But
Yeah.
if I had a podcast that I love as much as you love what you do, I would have informational interviews with potential sponsors. Like who are the
Yeah.
biggest, because what you have to deliver is an audience.
Yeah.
And if you look at a lot of the podcasts, they make money because sponsors are throughout their podcast.
Yes.
Before the
Yes.
speaker comes in, there's breaks, there's all kinds of links. I would get on the phone with every potential sponsor imaginable and not approach them from, I want to sell you, but rather, how can I configure my podcast to be appealing enough for you to sponsor? And I just want to have a brief conversation about what do I need to do to my podcast to make it one that you will fund?
Great. Great
My
advice.
question to you is, what else would you rather be doing than what you're doing now?
Talking to people.
Well, you can
I
get paid to do this.
Yes, and I just I was working as a waiter, and my boss and a friend, he said always that I talk too much, but I told him, like, it's just, why are people coming to a town 2.5 hours away from the capital and coming to a restaurant to eat? Where did they hear about the restaurant? And, like, people coming all over the world, and I was just inspired. It's just, well, it takes a lot, like, it takes so much to inspire me, because I just feel like, when I hear people, like, I was talking to Rand Timmerman on this show, and he was 80 years old. He started to drink when he was 12, and alcohol just steered him into, he was either drunk or hangover when he decided, like, he was hangover when he signed up for the army to partake in the Vietnam War. Like, and I was just like, what? Like, what? Who does that?
Yeah.
So but that is fun. But I am, like, working towards it, because I'm building the brand, and then that, like, you are number 60 something, so I think I'm getting there. But, and that's why, okay, so you got fired and unemployable by design, when your strengths don't fit the system. I can concur, because I feel like I am too big for something, because I it's like, I come home and say to my wife, "What, am I impossible? Like, why is it that I can't get a job? Is it
Oh,
because?"
you can get a job, but you're not
Yeah,
going to ever get to do what you love as much as this.
no, yeah,
So you're not asking me, but wisdom from the universe comes in different forms. I
hmm,
listened to you. I listened to your podcast before. You're meant to do this. You obviously love people. And I don't think you talk too much because you ask really good questions and you listen. Monetize what you're doing and create your own job.
well, thank you. I will do. So let's now start talk about
Yes.
you and what
Okay.
happened. So you saw an opening, a portal opened, and Mary Korn said, "Now is the chance. What will I do?" Because, should we tell people that you built it from nothing, and now you have How many people working for you? 1,300 employees.
I built it to 1,300 employees and I sold it.
Well,
So
in
I
a way,
thought I sold it almost 2 years ago, and I sold it, and now I'm doing the next leg of my journey, which is helping people find their way. Because I was so lost. You know, it's interesting. I was speaking to a group of 40 people just last Friday, and I said, how many of you know what your life purpose is? Out of 40 people, how many people do you think raised their hand?
I will say five.
Yes. So half the battle people struggle with is, what am I meant to do? What am I meant to do? Then once you, and the thing is if you don't know what you're meant to do and you look for a job, it's like getting on an elevator and not knowing what floor you're supposed to get off at.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what floor do you want to get off at? Oh, I don't know, 8, 9, 10. How do you find a job if you don't really know what your purpose is? And a good part of finding your purpose is doing internal excavation of what you love. I'm not selling right now because this is free, but on my website, I have 3 workbooks that are free. One is embracing courage to get over your fear. Number 2, find your life purpose. And number 3, use informational interviews to create the job or create the business that's in your heart. So when I looked you up again, this is the second time, when I look at your past, podcast, you love what you do.
Yes, yes, that is because this has been a dream for ages. But I was
Yes.
always afraid. I was always
Oh,
afraid because I
yes.
thought I thought I wasn't clever enough. I thought I wasn't good enough. Yada yada yada. But then in 2018, I started in Icelandic, and I remember I have told the story before because I quit my job in 2020, and then I decided to have a podcast called Tribute to Happiness. And my first interviewee was a girl who was with me on a Chief Happiness Academy, and she was from Belgium. And I was a little bit afraid that she wouldn't like how would it go. I speak broken English and she probably does well. And then I recorded it, and then I sat with my wife and, oh, what do you think people will say? And they will not like my English. And then my wife calmly, we have been together for 40 years, so she knows me. She calmly looked at me and said, will you please hit that effing button now? So I was just like, okay, I will press enter. And after that, like then it became, when you get used to it, it doesn't matter because I'm doing what I love and I find it fun. I meet very interesting people. So, but how? Because when we don't know what we want, because we are sometimes, because I'm a social educator, like that is my background, and usually working with the teenagers, they were so parent driven, they were so pleasing, they were people pleasers. So how do you, like when you were growing up and you were deciding what to do, how did your mother support you in finding out what you wanted to do?
Okay. Oh, she had no role whatsoever. I mean, she was a PTSD on steroids.
Okay.
She had she had no ability to parent whatsoever. And
Okay.
but the truth is most of your listeners, very few of them have loving, supportive, attentive parents.
Yeah.
Parents do the best they can, but
Yeah.
sometimes they fall incredibly short. And honest to God, one thing that was very, very helpful is you do life coaching, don't you?
Yes, we can say that because social education that calls for it.
So, what was incredibly helpful in my life is going to a career coach who did in depth analysis of what my purpose, what my passion is. And the test results showed I was meant to be a leader of a social impact business because I love business and I love social impact. So I knew that that was something I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to get to do it. And that's why of the 3 workbooks I have, all of them I think are really important. But the most important one is once you figure out what you really want to do, how do you bridge? Here, I know I want to do podcasts, to how do I monetize it, start a business, or get a job in it? And the answer is you have you make this your new job. Your new job is to schedule conversations with people that could help you figure out how to monetize your podcast. So if I were you, I would be calling the biggest podcasters in the world and ask to spend 15 to 20 minutes to learn how do you create a business out of the podcast model. And then I would also make a list of the biggest sponsors of podcasts and find out what do they need you, how do they need you to structure this show so that you can monetize it. And I'll give myself as an example. So here I'm fired, completely lost at ground zero. And I was taking a walk in an alley and I prayed to God.
Yeah.
And I prayed and I said, okay, I'm really lost. Tell me what to do. And I heard 2 words. And the words I heard were medical associations. And I'm like, this makes no sense. But I immediately went home and I called every medical association in the state of Ohio. I called their CEOs. And I asked if I could meet with them to talk about how do I transition my skills in sales and marketing and healthcare into their industry. And I started getting appointments. And one of those appointments turned into a contract. And that contract turned into what would be my future for 20 years. Because what I learned, so keep in mind, I didn't approach them from I want a job or I want a contract. And this is all in my workbook. I
Yeah.
approached
Yeah.
it from what are the needs of your industry that I could support? So every sponsor has a need to get in front of an audience. And every sponsor has different needs of what they want their audience to look like for them to sponsor. So the more data you have, and I don't mean to turn it around on you, but you're a perfect example of somebody that if you started to have informational interviews with people, they could tell you what their needs are and how your expertise could be a fit for them.
I am like it's a great advice because in my opinion, because I'm 29 plus with 30 years of experience, I'm still learning because just these hourly sessions every week, I always take something with me, and I'm just like, and this information that you are giving me, it is so inspiring, and that is why you are on this show, because I just felt like when we spoke way
Yeah,
back, it was just like a match made in heaven. Because, and well, everybody is match made in heaven when they talk to me, because I can laugh and I can like be myself and stuff. But it is something about, and then you get the information, and then you can sell, like you can build on it. It's like a Lego, like you
yeah,
have the building blocks, and then, oh yeah, Mary, she said something about this. Oh, Rand, he did it like this, like, so you can have it in your memory, and then just like, yeah, I will try what Mary said.
yeah.
So it's a great stuff. But how was it when you, because now you say the medical aspect. What was your master's in? Like, what are you educated in?
Well, I'm educated in clinical social work,
So,
but
yeah,
my true calling was to marry a social mission with a business mission, which is
yeah, yeah,
exactly what my business was. I got
right.
large federal contracts to do call center work, hiring people with the greatest barriers to work.
But when you got when you started calling, and did people look at you or talk to you like you were like, who are you? Why are you talking to me? Like, what do I know?
So you are asking a great question, and I have to pause for 1 minute. Is this till 12:30? Do we have an
Yeah,
hour or?
we have a half hour left, but we
Okay.
can quit. We can quit anyway. Like, you can say if you want in 20 minutes, then we do that. But like, it
Well,
is an hour.
I, it is an hour.
Yeah. So it's
Okay,
in 30.
could you give me 1 minute to reschedule another call? Because we're getting into
Yes.
some meat that's very important. So just
Yes.
give me 1 minute on pause and
Yes.
give me 1 minute.
Yes, I will do. So my guest today is the author of unpublished book. It's still in the making. Fired to Inspired: A Journey of Career Reinvention and Unshakable Drive. Mary Korn, and the book is drawing inspiration from Schindler's List and her own family legacy of resilience. She delivers a blend of raw memoir and actionable wisdom that speaks to two distinct audiences: those relying from job loss and professionals hungry to align their work with deeper purpose. So we are in a great conversation, and here she is again. Welcome again. Welcome back. So I hope I did well introducing your book.
You did. So every conversation, so there's two ways to do informational interviews. One is much easier than another. And the way to get the interview is you start with a list of people that you know. So you look at your whole network and you look at them and say to yourself, who knows of people who could be my sponsor? Or who knows of people who are the biggest podcasters in the world? Because the big podcasters usually have deep funding and they may have an interest on taking on another project.
Yeah,
So the easiest way to proceed is with a list of names of people you know who know other people. So let's say you have a brother-in-law who's with Kellogg's. I'm just pulling out names.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And Kellogg's could actually be a perfect sponsor if you have predominantly women who are mothers and have children of a certain age. The point that I'm making is uh, the before you call on anyone, start with a list of people you know who know other people.
Yeah.
Because warm leads, if your sister-in-law called you and said, would you just talk to my son about a career as a podcaster? You would do it in a heartbeat. So
Oh,
you
yes.
want to make a list of your contacts who are the most connected. And so you don't have to give me a name, but who in your life is could be connected to sponsors?
Well, I know Joshua Hart is one I talked to. He
And
he he
who
could.
is that?
He is a young guy living in the U.S. and he
What
has a
is,
studio. If I remember correctly, he is a podcaster. He has a studio and he is a social media guy, marketing guy. So
okay.
so his name popped up right when you started talking. I was like, yeah, I have to talk to him.
Okay, so that is an example. He may not have the ability to connect you. He might not be your person, but if you said to him, I'm interested in tweaking my podcast so that I will be appealing to sponsors, could you give me advice? And because you ask a lot of prepared questions, just like you do with me and anyone else you invite on your show. You ask questions about how you can further what you do, and you never end a conversation without asking, who else should I talk to?
Yeah, Yeah.
So you have a carefully curated list, but and in my case, I had a really good friend who was a lobbyist for medical associations. And I met with him before I started my meetings and I said, "What are the needs of medical associations?" And he said, "They are all hurting for revenues because most of them only make money from membership dues. And usually that is simply not enough." So he gave me all these clues on what their needs were, how I should charge for my services. And the most important thing he gave me is a whole list of names of people he said I could call on using his name. And then I had a very simple script. And by the way, I have sample scripts on my workbook. And the script I use is, "Hi, I got your name from George. George suggested that you might have an interest in talking to me about how I can use my skills and my talents uh, to transform into your industry." I didn't ask for a job. I didn't ask for a contract. I asked if they would just meet with me and guide me because I really wanted to learn. And that is the technique I used from the time I started the business till I sold it. I never stopped doing informational interviews. And it was the key to starting the business and building the business. And it eventually led to the sale of my business.
It just, when you're saying it like this, like what you're saying, it's just because my wife and I, we on this journey for 6 years now. She has her business. She is upcycling clothes, and she sometimes no, she was on a course, and they said you send messages or you post on social media until when you say to yourself, oh, that must be enough. No, then you post some more. And both of us, we have been talking and laughing about this. The worst thing in all of these projects that we have been together, like doing, is selling yourself. But that is maybe because we have the wrong approach. Your approach, I am desperate. I will pick up the phone later on and say, oh, I was just talking to Mary Korn and she said I should do it like this. Because
Yeah.
it's much easier, but because people complain about when they go into their own business that they have to sell themselves, isn't it? Because you have to go and, well, I'm this and I'm that, and or I'm better than those.
So I'm going to say something that really challenges you. You're not really selling yourself as much as your demographics, meaning if you have a detailed data on who the profile of your listener, people are not going to buy you per se. They're going to buy that they have a
The
ready-made
listeners, yeah.
audience in a part of the globe that you might. Just curious, do you know the composition of your market? Is it Iceland? Is it all over the world? Are there certain countries you're more prone to be listened to?
I was looking at it the other day, and it is America who are in the top spot. But I have people in India, I have people in UK, so I have people all over the world.
Are there any places that you're dominant, the most dominant, like cities?
No, I did not see that. I
Okay, so
just saw that. I just saw that it was in the US, so I have to maybe look better into that. But I noticed that my YouTube channel is growing, so then I must be doing something right.
the more you know, you're doing. Okay, keep in mind this is a passion project, and you haven't even thought till now of how to really double down and focus on monetizing it. If you want to monetize it, you have to make this into your product. And a product that sponsors would want is one where you capture demographics they mostly desire. So there have to be companies that want podcasts that help get their message out to targeted audiences.
Yeah, so
There's a
true,
way to what?
so true, so true. I'm just concurring. It's just
Yeah,
absolutely true.
And there are probably courses you could take on YouTube and online on how to construct your business so you can monetize it. And they're going to tell you, you have to know who your audience is.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the audience sponsors want, you need to find out what sponsors want what audiences. If they want your demographic to screw to people who are 40 to 60, or mothers or males, treat this as a product.
But how was it after you had had all of the discussions and you figured out like how you could do this? Did you hit a wall? Like, like nothing is easy in life, is it? Like you are climbing a mountain and you walk 10 steps up and then you crawl down seven again and then you crawl up five and you down again and like how was it for you? Like, were you because from 0 to 1,300 employees?
Right. So I'm a salesperson by training. I'm trained clinically. I'm trained as a social worker. My education, which
Yeah,
doesn't mean a
yeah,
whole lot. What means a lot is you in sales. It's a numbers game. So
yeah,
I always know that if you made 20 calls asking for informational interviews, that cold calls over time, you'll get about 20%. So if you make 100 calls, 20% will agree to talk to you.
yeah,
But I also know that if you use somebody's name, like your brother-in-law, if you use a contact name that's connected to the industry, you have a 40 to 50% chance that people will schedule time. And the other thing I know is before you have any conversation, you have to do detailed research on their business and on them. So before I got on with you, even though this is not an informational, I guess it is an informational interview.
well, yeah,
I
yeah,
needed
yeah.
to know what your background was. I know your whole background. I saw that you went in and out of podcasting, that happiness, weren't you a happiness
Uh, ch- ch-
officer?
Chief Happiness Officer, that is like what I like to call myself, self-proclaimed Iceland's Chief Happiness Officer.
But the point being is before you engage in any call,
Yeah, that you look.
you need to know about the business,
Yeah,
and you need to know about the person personally, because
yeah.
the more you know about the person you talk to, the more informed and the better the outcomes. And I can't recommend enough this free workbook called The Holy Grail of Informational Interviews, because you have to have a carefully worded script. The shorter, the better. LinkedIn is a perfect exercise. But even more, you have to start with clarity on where you want that conversation to go.
So, and your website is running until like it's
Yeah.
floating on the screen, fire2inspire.com. Um, we were talking about I mentioned before that this, you know, I can do this, but then you have this little nagging sense of who do you think you are? How can you go do this? And you know, the imposter syndrome and we are in some way like there is a well-known bully out there who is just like telling everybody they are worse than every like him. No, the bully. Sorry, I hope you know who am I talking about because and when you because like I know that my wife is awesome, and I know that she can do it in a heartbeat. She is like a fighter. She picks up a badminton catch and just like, oh, what's this? And then she's the best. Ping pong, she's the best. And I just like, oh, I have been doing this for 10 years now, and you are better than me. I don't
No,
like you.
no, no. You see, the thing is you're already doing it.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah,
are already, it's not like you want to aspire to do it. You're just bold enough to just go out and do it because
yeah.
it's from your heart. And because this is from your heart, you will be enormously successful, because a part of success is doing what you love, and you're there.
Yeah.
You just have to
Because
take it the next step.
yeah, because you mentioned you were speaking to 40 people yesterday, and then five raised their hands, and they have a clarity or they have knowledge.
Five,
Like
only
five,
five,
five of the 40, they knew what they were like.
which means 35 people in that room of 40 have no
Yeah,
clue. So how do you succeed when you have no clue of what you want? You know what
yeah.
you want. All you have to do is take it the next step.
But how can we? Is this something that we should learn, or like, is this should this be a curriculum in the elementary school? Or because why is it that
Oh,
when we are kids, we climb up in trees and
yes.
we are the superheroes, like we are like Superman and whatnot. But then we grow older, and then all of a sudden, ooh, what do you think that the outsiders will say? If they look at me, what will they say? So why is it? What happens?
Because parents or grandparents don't know enough about how, when they're raising a child, to see what they're passionate about. So I have a grandson who is absolutely passionate about outer space and absolutely passionate about architecture. And I wouldn't be surprised by the time he's old enough if he doesn't build space stations on space, because he is so clear about two completely divergent interests.
Yeah,
And what's unfortunate is you ask a good question. We're not raised to understand their passion. We're not raised to ask children what is in your heart's desire, and to listen. But just because you didn't have parents like that means you can't figure it out. But my guess is if you did my workbook on finding life purpose, you already found it. You know
yeah,
what your purpose is.
because it is unbelievable how we tend to, and people who they take this path and they become doctors or teachers or whatever, but in a sense, they just wanted to be painters or
Yeah,
ceramists or whatever, but
right.
there was they were doing what they thought that the parents wanted them to
Yes,
do.
yes. But the other thing to think about is you still have bills to pay, and there is nothing wrong with building a bridge to making money immediately, but making your longer term goal to monetize the work that resonates with your heart. You just have to become more of a more expert at marketing and sales because you have a product.
Yeah.
This show is a product.
So how is it? Because you mentioned that the book, because I love this title, like Fired to
Thank
Inspired. It is just like unbelievable to think, and it gives you just like what? Should I be fired just to be inspired?
Yeah.
So
No,
when is it due? Like is it's not ready or you are it has not.
it's going through final edits. I just have to block off the time to finish it, but it's very close to being done. It's through a final edits. I'm hoping within the next 3 or 4 months it will be out.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was already out because I just like I'm waiting. And I tried to find it on Amazon and stuff, and I was just like, where is it?
The-
I
But 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 you can access the workbooks on my site,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they're available now.
So I will again your website. So what is in it for you when you like now you are working on the book, you are finishing the book, you have sold your company. Like when how much hard work, like when did you realize that you were really great at what you were doing? Like you were exceptionally good because there is something like because there is a one thing to go on the belief like singers who aspire like, and then you like hit one wrong note and your career is over or what, like it's a hard tough business and you were a woman, you were in business, yada yada yada. But when did you realize that you were just like yes?
Uh, Feedback from people and checking in with my heart. And I No, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, my mission in this world, until I can't do it anymore, is to encourage people who are just dying to do work that matters. And I hope, even if we affected one listener on this show, I've accomplished what my work is about. And to me, that is success.
Absolutely true. And it
So
is, yes, do what you feel like passionate about.
you're already
What
there.
I am there, yes, but because
That's the
I,
battle.
yes, so because I have always somehow weird way. My father was alcoholic and stuff, but I really enjoyed being in the company of people. I have
Well,
always
you're
my father. Do you know what my father said when growing up?
what?
Stop being so bloody nuisance. Like you were always like it doesn't bother you. I was always asking questions. Why this?
Good.
Why that? Like, and and
This is what, yeah,
and now I'm talking to people. It somewhat pays off because I am really enjoying life.
it shows. And that's what
Yes.
makes you a delightful host. And
Oh,
with
thank
that,
you.
I have to get ready for another call. And
Yes.
this was delightful and wonderful. And please look at my workbook, Holy Grail, and do not give up because you've got a product that's
Yes.
worthwhile.
So just to finish off, I will take 1 minute. Just look at
Yes,
Mary's website, fire2inspire.com, where you can find the books and workbooks that she mentioned. People can find you on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Isn't that
yes,
correct?
yes.
I did my homework. Just saying, just saying. And because this was an absolutely fantastic conversation. So next one will be as equally like fantastic because I'm going to talk to Chip Schultz Thursday, 9th of April, and we will talk about the small moments we ignore that shape our leadership or life. Like it ends always about talking about life. But Mary, you are absolutely a gem.
And you are
You're a
too.
diamond. Thank you very much, and have a great Eastern. And just we will be in touch. Thank you very much.